everybody, my name is Marley Bird and this is video 3 of the Tournament of Stitches 2020. We are working together on this beautiful knitted mystery make-along project and we are ready to begin section 3 of this cute scarf. Now you might be saying to yourself, oh, they're already 3 sections in, it's too late to start, and I want to let you know it is never too late to start this project. All you need to do is get that free pattern. It's available at the link provided in the video description box right below this video. When you click that link, that will take you to the main page. And as you scroll to the bottom of that page, you will see a link for each one of the sections as we release those for this project. Simply start at section 1. Begin with section 1's instructions and the video, and you will be here on this video in no time. You do have to complete each week's worth of instructions before you can move on to the next. That's the way this make-along works. Now, having said that, I have included the stitch and row repeat for each of the stitch patterns should you want to use them later on, but for the most part, we're keeping everything just restricted in the number of stitches that we've cast on in video 1, in section 1. Pretty clear, right? While you're here checking out this video, I do want to make sure you are smashing that like button so that other people know you enjoyed this video. It also helps me to know you are enjoying this video because I want to make sure I'm giving you good quality content here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. It's also helpful if you're sharing this knit along on social media. As you're working on your project, make sure you use hashtag Marley Bird or hashtag Tournament of Stitches. Okay, guys? If you have your homework complete and you've already taken a look at section 3's instructions, let's jump in and begin the instructions. By this point in your project, it looks a little something like this. This was section 1, and then we did a row of garter stitch and we began section 2. And then section 3 is going to work with 10 rows of garter stitch using our color A. And then we go back to our color B and do 2 rows of garter stitch with color B. It's at this point we're beginning the section 3 mosaic stitch pattern. Now, in these videos, I am following along with the chart to make it easier for you to follow with the chart on your end. Let's go ahead and take a look. This chart resembles all the other charts we've already looked at. The first 10 rows are represented right here with garter stitch in color A, and then rows 11 and 12 are represented right here with color B. It's when we begin row 13 that the mosaic stitches really start to happen. Just like in all the other sections, when I've mentioned to you as you slip stitches to make sure they're spaced out and the floats are not too snug, this is going to be a time that you have to make sure of that once again. When we look at row 13, we can see there are 2 slip stitches side by side all the way down the row. When there are 2 stitches side by side, I think it becomes very easy to accidentally make that float a little bit too tight. So I want you to be very conscientious of keeping those floats nice and regularly spaced apart so that way your fabric does not pucker. You'll also notice that as you change colors every 2 rows, just like before, I don't see anywhere in this pattern that you will slip 2 of the color C's side by side. When you slip 2 stitches, it's always the color B that you're slipping. Can you see that all the way through? I also want you to notice as you're looking at this pattern, can you notice that the top half mirrors the bottom half? See how the bottom half all the way up from row 13 to 29 and row 30, it looks like we've created this path, we've walked up, come up here to row 29 and 30. And then as we go from 31 down to 45 and 46, those rows are a mirror image of these rows. So once you get past here to the midway point, it's smooth sailing. You should be able to see how this stitch pattern is really working up on your needles. There's nothing new really to throw at you for this stitch pattern as compared to the first two sections, but I do want to work up a couple of rows with you just to get you started, and then I'm going to let you go on your merry little way. Once again, I do have my Post-it notes back in play. I have pink ones this time. So this is the exact same chart. I just printed off an extra copy so I could get the Post-it notes already on there. And this time I got smart. Look, I put tape on the Post-it notes. That way I can take them all off at once. I do want to remind you, I block off the rows that I have not completed so that way I can see the rows I've completed on my left-hand needle so I know what needs to work into them. So I'm going to start right here on row 13. This is also a row where we switch our needles once again to get to the larger size needle. Okay, so I will be doing that. I've already got my color C on my needle ready to go. Gonna grab my larger needle here and we will get started. So I will begin with my knit 2. Then I slip one with yarn and back, slip one with yarn and back. And this is the part where I was saying I want to make sure you keep that that float not too tight. I want to make sure it's nice and relaxed going across those 2 stitches as you knit the next stitch. Then we slip 2 stitches, so I go in as if to purl and slip it, go in as if to purl and slip it. Now I will knit 3. Okay, you see that? And I just continue on down the row. Slip 2, knit 1, make sure I knit that, and then slip 2, geez Louise, knit 3. Slip 2, knit 1, slip 2, knit 3. When you get to the end of the row, I always do a quick just kind of reassessment, make sure everything looks nice and neat. I have my smaller needle completed, so I'll put that aside. I'll switch back to that when I get to the end of this mosaic section, and I go ahead and turn my work and begin to work back. As I'm working back, I'm still working in garter stitch for this pattern, so I simply will knit all the stitches that are the same color as the yarn I'm working, so all the stitches that are the same color as color C. And then when I get to the stitches that are the opposite color, I bring my yarn forward and I slip those stitches, bring my yarn back to the back so that way I can knit the ones that are in color C. Bring it to the front to slip those, bring it back to the back to knit the next. Once again, you do want to make sure that these stitches are spaced out too. You don't want those floats to get too tight. I have a tendency to let them get a little bit snug on this side. I have no idea why, but I do always have to check myself and just make sure that I'm keeping those stitches, or the floats I should say, regularly spaced. The stitches regularly spaced and the floats not too snug. Okay? Let's get down this row. When you get to the end of the row, your other yarn is down here waiting for you, so that is a clue for you that it's time to change colors. And remember, just try and keep it consistent however you change colors. So I'm going to do this one just like so. Bring this color up, that color down, and I like to make sure my needle is on that side, and I'm ready to begin my next row. Okay, so I take a second right here, grab my chart, I will move my Post-it notes up. Now I did a poll last time and asked how many of you are working with the chart or working with the words. And so many of you are working with the chart. So I'm so proud of you. That makes me very happy. I'm wondering how many of you are using Post-it notes, how many of you are using washi tape, how many of you are using counted cross stitch, magnetic board, or do you have another option that maybe I don't even know about? Why don't you leave me a comment below and let me know which way you're using. Maybe it's one that I want to try out. So I would love to know, okay? All right, so let's do rows, let's see, this would be 15 and 16 together. All right, so I'm going to knit 4 with my color B. Now I slip 1 with yarn in back, knit 3. Slip 1 with yarn in back, knit 3, slip 1 with yarn in back, knit 3. I'm going to keep doing this all the way down the row. End with 1 knit stitch, turn. Once again, on the wrong side rows, we're still keeping these in garter stitch, and you will knit the ones that are the same color as the yarn you're using and slip the opposite. Makes it very easy so you don't have to look at the chart or the instructions. You can simply read your knitting as they're on the needles. I'm at the end of the row. Turn my work, and it doesn't look like much yet, but I can begin to see the stitch pattern taking shape. All I would need to do now is grab my chart, take my Post-it notes or my washi tape or my embroidery metal tool magnet thing and just move that up. And so I'm on row 17 and 18, and I continue on. I feel like at this point you really can continue on without my help. You know all the stitches already, whether it's the slip 2 or the slip 1. There's nothing else really there for me to teach you. However, I do want to remind you of one little thing. When you get to the end of the mosaic stitches and you're ready to begin row 47, don't forget to grab your smaller needle as you knit row 47 and 48. So that way when we begin section 4, you're ready to go and get started. Once again, it'll be with color A, and you'll do 10 rows of garter stitch. Yes, I know I just gave you a little secret and I gave you a little tip to get ahead. Let's not tell anybody. It'll be our little secret. Okay guys, go ahead, finish section 3. Make sure you share with me on social media, #MarleyBird or #Tournament of Stitches. I want to make sure I see your work and I smash your like button. Thanks so much everybody. Bye. Thanks so much for joining me on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to hit subscribe. I've put a link right over there, or you can watch a couple of the videos I've already selected for you right down there. If you want to follow me on social media, I've put my links right over there. You can have all Marley all the time. Bye guys.